Hello everyone, and today we are going to start with a very important topic which probably you might be able to relate in your real life. Now let's say I have this circular portion which I'll just try to draw, and what does it look like? Oh, I feel this like a puri or a chapati which I get in my home. So let's say this is like a puri or a chapati which I get in my home, and how much do you think it would be right now? So I think it's, yes, you're right. It's one whole. It's one whole. And now let's see that probably I would want to share it with somebody, as I do get friends in my house. So how can I share? And it just happens that instead of one, I'm getting more than one friends. So what I can do is probably I can try to split this into various pieces, and I do have these various pieces cut out. So let's say if I'm going to split it into one such part, I'm going to split it into one such part like this. This is my original one whole, and I'm going to split it into one such part. So how much part do you think this might be? Well, I can do one thing, that I'll divide it into this way, and let's see how many parts do I have. So I see, okay, so this is one part out of total 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 parts. So let's say if I'm dividing among 4 friends and I'm giving one part, so I'll say I'm giving them 1 out of 4, and we write them as 1 out of 4. Now let's say one of them came but did not eat it, and let's say that I have this one more piece which I'm putting over here, and now I just want to share these two pieces. Yeah, let's say with two of my friends who came, I want to share two pieces, but what will be the fraction? So I'll see, okay, in total how much I have, and I know the total was 4, so the fraction would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 parts, but how much I am sharing is essentially, probably I'll write in a different color. So I'm sharing 1 part and 2 parts. Now what is 1 by 2 exactly? So I see, okay, 2 and 4 have something in common, and what is common? Yes, common is 2. So when 2 is common, probably I can divide both of them by common factor as divisor, which is 2. And I get 2 1s are 2 and 2 2s are 4. So what is 1 over 2 or 1 by 2 is essentially half. Now what if I got these 3 pieces over here, and I'm taking 3 parts and I'm placing them like this. So now I'm sharing 3 parts. So how much will be the fraction? So I'll think again, okay, how much is total? The total is again 1, 2, 3, 4. So probably I'll write it this way. My total parts are 4. How much I'm sharing will come above, which is 3 parts I'm sharing. And 3 out of 4, do they have anything common? Well, no, because 3 is a prime number. So it has only factors 1 and 3. And they do not match. 1 obviously matches, but 3 does not match with factor of 4. So we won't be able to divide with a common factor. So over here we say that I shared 3 out of 4 pieces. Now what if the condition is this way, that while dividing, I'll probably put it this way, that I'm pasting this instead of over here, I'm cutting from over here. Yeah. So I have one piece here and the other piece here. So I'm just wondering now, how much is it? I mean, it doesn't look like 3 by 4. It doesn't look like other fractions. So let's try to evaluate how much it looks like. So probably I'll delete this, and probably I'll use this cloth over here because we have some water over here. So I'll rub this part, and now let's try to see that how much fraction are we going to make. So I'll first try to see that how much are total. The total parts, yes, you're right, the total parts are 1, 2, 3 and 4, And then how much is the selected portion? So I have this one selected portion and I have this second selected portion. So okay, I get 2 out of 4. But didn't I get 2 out of 4 earlier as well? Yes, I did get 2 out of 4 earlier. And what did we do earlier? Well, we divided them with common factor, which is 2. So ultimately again, it will come as 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, 1 out of 2. So 1 out of 2 indicates, we know already, it indicates as half. But does this look like half? Well, this doesn't look like half, probably because one is in this position and the other is in the slant position. But yes, while calculation, we do understand that these are divided into half. That is half of the total figure which we have. Now we also have other figures. Let's say we have these pieces over here, and this one piece, I think it represents one portion of this figure, and if I keep on joining, let's see, if I keep on joining them, 1 and 2, and I keep on joining like this, 3, and this comes as 4. So I do understand when I keep on joining like this, I get 4 parts over here. The rest of the 4 portions can come in the portion over here. So essentially this will be 4 plus 4, 8. And then since the lower half will get 8, the upper half will also have 8. So in total 8 plus 8, 16. So how much divisions we are doing? Equal divisions. We are doing 16 divisions. So when we are doing 16 divisions, how much would this portion would be? How much do you think this portion would be if this whole is divided into 16? So let's try to see that possibility, and I'll stick this for our reference. I'll stick this for a reference and I'll paste this like this, and let's try to rub and make some space. So now we have this possibility that we have this whole picture. So probably I want to draw it like this, and I'm out of center. I'm dividing into one such part, and there's 16 such parts like this. There's 16 such parts. So how much this one part would be if all of this is divided into 16 such parts in total? So I'll say this one part would be 1 out of 16. And what's the way of writing into fraction is, for this you write 1, for out of you put a division sign, and for this number 16 you write 16. And what if I end up adding all of them? For example, I paste all of them over here. So what has happened if I paste all of them over here? Like, I'll make divisions this way, and what if I add up all of them? Now if I add up all of them, probably I can write this way, that 1 out of 16, let's say from here, adds to another 1 out of 16 this way, 1 out of 16, and it again adds to 1 out of 16. And how many are total? I'm doing this 16 times, so I'll do this continues 16 times, and this means that I can simply say the total number of times is 16 of what? 1 out of 16. So I write of 1 out of 16. And what is 16 of 1 by 16? Is essentially, I put for of, I put a multiply as we know, and I write 1 out of 16. 16 and 16 cancels with 1. So it gets 1 out of 1, which is equal to 1. And what does this 1 indicate? This 1 indicates this one whole which we were talking about. So I like this as 1 whole. And these were very basics of circular figures when we are dividing. But what if our shape changes? So let's try to figure out when our shape changes, and I'll just rub it. And now we also need to understand that when we use the word fraction, Yeah, when we use the word fraction, let's write the word fraction and see. When we use the word fraction, what does it actually mean in a language like English? So in our language, fraction actually means part of something. It actually means part of something. So if we see this figure over here and we say, okay, these are divided into how many portions? One portion, like this big portion 1, this small portion 2. Let's put it a different color. And so 1 portion, 2 portion, and 3 portion and 4 portion. So probably I'll say the total number of portions are 4 and this shaded portion is 1. If I'm considering the definition that fraction is part of something. But is it actually right as per math? Is it right as per math? If you go as per English, yes, it's divided into 4 portions, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 selected, 1 out of 4. But we actually want to understand, is it fraction in terms of mathematics? So what we need to understand that in mathematics, we don't say fraction as only part of something. We say it's part of something when that something is divided equally. When that's something, and then something is what? Essentially a whole. Yeah. So probably we want to change our definition that fraction is part of a whole, which is essentially divided equally. Now we come back to this picture and we see if they are divided equally, and obviously they are not divided equally. So when they're not divided equally, as this portion is very big, this is very thin, and this is kind of in medium, so we say this does not fit into our definition of fraction. Now since it does not fit into our definition of fraction, so probably we want to say, oh, this is not a fraction. This is not a fraction. Why? Because it's not being equally divided. It's not being divided equally. Similarly for this, at first probably we will see that this figure over here can give us an answer. Let's try to rub. And probably this means that this figure can give us an answer of this shaded portion as 1 and total portions are 2. So total portions will come above or below. What if I write, okay, this is 1 and out of 2. Cool? Somebody said wrong. Why? Because, oh, so this is wrong because the total portions will come below. So instead of writing this way, we will actually write the total portions below, which were 2, and the selected portions above. So this is a common mistake we do. Please don't do that. Put the total as below. Now, considering that we are doing this, we are putting the total below and we are putting the selected above. Now, is it actually 1 by 2? That is the question. Is it actually 1 by 2? Now, what shall we ask? Okay, we must ask a question to ourselves that as per fraction, is this part of a whole is divided equally? So let's come back and I see, oh, they are not divided equally because this has certain structure, certain shape and size, which is very different from this shape and size. This lower one is like a trapezium and this is a triangle. So I'll say because they are divided unequally, that is not equally, we'll say this as well, it's not a fraction. It's not a fraction. Now let's go for this figure. How many divisions do we have? We see 1 division, 2 division, 3 division, and 4 divisions. And out of them, let's say our shaded one is this 1, 2, and 3. So if at first we look, we'll probably say that these are 3 portions. So put 3 above and total 4 as down. So probably this is 3 by 4. Yes, you got it. Again, using the same logic, is it divided equally? We'll check. It's not divided equally, we know, so it's not a fraction. It's not a fraction. Now let's try to rub and look at some very interesting figures over here. So I'll just rub this, and I got a very interesting figure with me, which probably I'll try to remove from the board as well, and let's see if this works for us. So this figure is kind of a toy which we are using for learning fraction. And why I say this as toy, because whenever I touch it, it becomes very live. I mean, see, this thing is not stable, it keeps on moving, and probably that's why when you keep holding it, it's a toy. Now, why I actually want to understand if this is actually a fraction or not, because they are being divided into a certain area. Now, if you see carefully, the left half is over here in green and the right half is in yellow. And when we try to divide it from between and we try to superimpose, like we just superimpose our two hands like this, like one over the another, whereas superimpose, like I get one hand over the another, matching all the corners. So probably this way as well, when I try to superimpose, so these hands come over here and this whole body can be divided into two. So probably when we'll move it back, and it's kind of very interesting and funny as well, when we try to move it back, we'll say, and we paste it back, this picture, let's say over here, and we'll see how much is this green portion. And exactly when you superimpose over here, we see, yes, they're superimposing, so that means they're exactly divided into two pieces. They're exactly divided into two pieces. So what I can derive from over here is that this picture is exactly divided in two pieces or in two parts. Better word is part, because we are not cutting them. They're divided into two parts. Now when it's exactly divided into two parts and we're taking one portion, so how much this green portion is? So probably we'll say that this is exactly, green is exactly half of the whole. So we'll say this whole is 1 by 2, that is half of the whole. So this is one of the very interesting figures of fraction. And let's say we'll paste it back. Thank you very much for helping us. Let's come down. And what about this figure over here? Let's try to take it off as well if it comes, and see what kind of figure it is. And it's more of an optical illusion, I see, that when I keep on rotating and it just kinds of grasp your attention, but at the same time you're mesmerized and you don't know what to do with it. But let's see, all divisions are equal over here. If I see all divisions are equal, so I'll just paste it back and we'll try to figure that how much is this blue portion out of this. So I'll rub this and I'll say that this blue portion is actually 1 and 2 out of total number of parts. The total number of parts are 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, which I'll put, which I'll put below. So I'll say this 2 out of 4. And obviously we know when we divide, so it becomes 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4. So this comes out as exactly 1 by 2 or exactly half, which we can also say 1/2. It's exactly 1/2 of the whole picture. And how much do you think this green portion should be? So when I take this picture, so I see, okay, these are exactly divided into two pieces. Equally divided? Yes, they are equally divided. So it is a fraction. But what is the fraction of green when compared to the whole? It's exactly 1 out of 3. So I write, okay, this fraction is 1 out of 3. And what about this last picture over here? So this, when we see, has been divided into 3 brown pieces or brown parts out of total 2 and 2, 4 and 2, 6. So in total we have 6 and we have 3 brown parts. So I'll say, okay, it's being divided into 3 out of 6. And if you see 3 and 6 have something in common, which is 3. So divide by 3, divide by 3, 3 ones are 3 and 3 twos are 6. So again, it comes as 1/2. Now, we also have some divisions which probably we want to wrap up in a few seconds. That what if, let's try to make some space over here. What if I actually have, as per this picture over here, what if I actually have one whole like this? I actually have one whole, and when this one whole is over here, then we can probably divide it into various pieces. So if I divide exactly from the half, it shall be, yes, it shall be 1/2. But let's say if I'm going to divide it into 3 parts, so I'll probably put 1 over here, then I'll put 1 division over here, and 1 here, and 1 will be here. So I'll say, okay, this portion would be 1/3. Similarly, you can get 1/4, 1/5, 6, and then 8 and 9 and 10. So the whole portions in fractions, you can divide it into any number of parts. But one moral story which probably we can learn out of fraction, that fraction is very clear of equal division. The division is there, but equal. So whenever we share our lunch in school, or probably we share our food in general, do we really think that we are dividing it equally? Or we agree, as I shared in our last lecture, that probably I ate my own cake and I didn't share. So fraction is very clear that I do want to share my food. I do want to share my resources. So whenever we are talking about fraction, probably what I want to learn in my real life, that as fraction does not discriminate in division, I should also not discriminate and share my resources with all of my family and friends, either in home or outside home. Thank you. Have a nice day.